super excited to be here with you. How are you?
Good. Thanks for
Yeah,
having me.
I am so thrilled. Yeah, I'm excited. So I actually, of course, I've heard about Indie Untangled for years, the whole time that we've been open here at Cheers to You. And I actually met you during a call with Laura Zander, one of the book club chats. So I'm glad to actually get to talk to you here, though.
Yeah,
So,
same
yeah,
here.
thanks for joining me. So, I want to get you to tell everybody, for folks who aren't familiar with Indie Untangled, what it is, a little bit about how you got going, which I know the backstory, but I want you to share it with everyone else. And then we'll go from there.
Sure. So Indie Untangled launched almost 8 years ago, back in, I think I'm doing the math right, back in 2014 in the spring. I had been knitting at that point for about 5 or 6 years and had gotten into indie dyed yarn. First skate of indie dyed yarn was Madeline Tosh that I bought at Downtown Yarns, one of my local yarn shops. And yeah, so I was just really into it. I had made a lot of friends who were dyers on Ravelry, and was just thinking that there needed to be a better way to keep track of everyone who was out there.
Yeah.
So a lot of dyers were on Etsy, and so Etsy had started changing, and they relaxed their rules on what's handmade, and just had kind of an explosion of sellers on the site. So it was getting harder for those dyers to stand out, and then subsequently when they moved to their own websites, it was this was but Instagram was around, but it wasn't quite what it is today.
Yeah.
So yeah, so I got busy creating what is now Indie Untangled, and then after it launched, I guess it was that summer, I was going to Rhinebeck and wondering what I should do kind of with my new business, and I came up with this idea to have a little trunk show on the Friday before. So I usually go out with a group of friends, and we all stayed at the Best Western. I think it used to be the Holiday Inn in Kingston. And some of the members of the group were dyers, and they would bring some of their yarn up in suitcases. And on
Of course
Friday
they
night,
did.
yeah, of
Yeah.
course. Because what do you do when you go to a yarn festival? You buy more yarn.
Yep.
So yeah, so we would all sit around on Friday night, and people would arrive, and we would just look at the yarn that the dyers brought. Um, and yeah, so it was just like a nice prep and
Yeah.
getting ready for the next day. So that first year in 2014, I asked, like, I guess a dozen or so dyers that I knew, to who if I knew they were going to Rhinebeck anyway. So I asked, "Hey, do you want to just bring some of your yarn?" And then that morphed into the
That did
the
it.
event that it is today.
I love it. Oh my gosh. And people talk about it all the time. We a few years ago, back before the pandemic, I feel like that's been a very long time. But before the pandemic happened, I had a couple customers who were trying to get tickets because the
Hmm.
tickets to your event are very limited. And owning a yarn shop, and particularly having just gotten to our 5 year mark, we aren't traveling a whole heck of a lot. So we haven't ever been to Rhinebeck or to Indie Untangled, but I've heard about it again and again. And so our customers, a couple of them they had, I don't know, they had some kind of like, I envisioned like them camping out with their computers all night, waiting to
That
get
might have
the,
been how it went.
yeah. And they did, and they absolutely loved it. So this year you've got it October 14th, I think, right?
Yes, yeah.
Yeah. So anything that is going to be different this year or changed, either just as a normal course of things or because of coming out of the pandemic, hopefully coming out of
Um, well, so last year's show, so we've kind of had to move venues around, and I say we, so I mean it started out as just me, and
right.
then so after I think it was the fourth year, so 2017. So it had been at the Best Western. It started out in like half of their ballroom, and then immediately knew we had to expand to the full space, and then we added a third room. And then in 2017, I think it was just like a culmination, the Instagram and
Right.
just podcasters. It was like the reputation had grown. So we had definitely outgrown the space there. So moved the show to Saugerties, to an old factory building that was turned into an event space. And it had the show there for a couple of years, and that could hold like 3 times the number of people. And then obviously 2020 happened,
Yes.
so did a virtual show. And then last year, so I think the previous space, was indoors, and we just didn't necessarily feel comfortable cramming everyone into that kind of a space. So we moved it to an equestrian facility in Saugerties.
Oh,
So it's called Hits, and kind of one of the things that that Saugerties is known for. They have it's this large, many acre site, and they had a couple of covered pavilions. So we had the show there, and it was a little more spread out, but especially for the way things have been, I think people felt really comfortable, and
yeah.
we actually weather worries aside, we really enjoyed being outdoors, and especially that time of year. It's early fall. This or last year it was like in the 70s, so it wasn't necessarily ideal sweater weather, but it's just nice to be outside
Yeah, yeah.
and
Well, actually, that weather was perfect for last year, so people could get out and
right.
that kind of thing. So you're going to be in that same facility you said again this year? Is that
Yeah, we're looking to
awesome?
be there again.
So I've heard about a thing at Rhinebeck that I love yarn, but I've heard about apple cider donuts.
Oh yes, yeah, those are incredible. So if yeah, at the Sheep and Wool Festival, there's the cider donut stand, and yeah, the lines are epic. Like I think I've waited in it for like an hour and a half. Um, but the donuts are incredible. They're better than any I've ever had. There's a farmer's market near my apartment. I live in Brooklyn,
Hmm.
and they have a cider donut person or somebody that sells baked goods. I think one
Okay.
of the orchards from upstate. But it's not the same. Like the ones you get at Rhinebeck, they're like right out of the fryer, and they're just covered in cinnamon and sugar, and it's totally worth it. You just have to. I mean, if you're gonna wait on that long of a line, you might as well buy like a dozen or something,
Yeah.
and eat
Yeah.
them the next day.
That's like your lunch, your dinner, yeah.
Your dessert, your
Yep.
breakfast the next 2 days.
Hey, it's a food group and probably also a vitamin, so I'm good with that.
Has apple cider in it.
Yeah, exactly. That's right. It's your fruit for the day. Well, you shared with me some pictures I wanted to share with everybody. So, can I pull a couple of those up?
Yeah.
Okay, so let's see. This one, and let me take this little guy off. So, this looks like your display at something.
Yeah, so that was my display in at the 2019 show. So it has yarn from Tré-Liz, and
Okay.
she's based in Greece, and she
Ooh,
came to New York for Rhinebeck. And actually, I'm looking at the display, and I have some of her yarn behind me. So this
ooh,
is one of the colorways that she had done. Let me
nice.
just make sure.
That's
Untangled.
beautiful. And it looks like a single, maybe?
Yeah, it's a
Okay.
single
Yarn.
plot.
Yeah,
Yeah,
nice. Okay.
yeah,
That's
yeah.
beautiful. All right, and tell me about this one here.
So that is, it's called Crostata, the colorway, and the yarn is from Lanivendole. So they're based in Italy, and it's a really cool story. So it's two friends, and they're they met through a local spinning group,
Okay.
and then set about creating this indie dye company or indie yarn company. So they get the fleece and other fiber from local sheep
I love
and
that.
goats in Italy,
Yeah,
and then they have it milled. There are a lot of yarn mills in Italy, but very few like locally produced
right.
yarn. Yeah, so
Yeah,
and then they dye it.
you made me think, we carry yarn obviously that we dye, but we also carry Barocco and they have some of their products milled in Italy. So I would imagine it's very much like here that you have some of the mills that are gigantic or relatively speaking very large and more
Right.
commercial, and then the smaller sort of boutique mills. So
Yeah.
I love stuff
Yeah.
like that. Yeah, that's
Yeah, and
awesome.
so I had met so it's Stefania and Julia, and I had the fortune of going to Barcelona Knits
Oh,
in 2019, and yeah, and met them. They had a booth there,
oh
and
wow.
just heard about their story and just loved their yarn. So the yarn that I showed you, it's called a Heavenly Blend, and it's made with wool, alpaca, and I believe cashmere. So it's really nice, and it's like slightly rustic in a way. Like it's not too soft like cashmere,
Yep.
um, or even limp because of the alpaca, but it has this gorgeous feel to it.
Ooh, I love that. Now, do you notice, I was looking at your website earlier, um, do you see a lot of your dyers putting up fiber, like spinning fiber? I hadn't noticed much. It seems like it's mostly yarn.
Yeah, it's mostly yarn. I think some of the dyers do offer that.
Okay.
But yeah, I feel like I don't know, in recent years I haven't seen as much.
Okay. I was just curious. You made me think of it also because you mentioned, I wanted to know if you were a spinner. I know that's sort of
Mm.
taking hold. Do you spin?
No, well, yeah, I've tried a spinning wheel before, but I guess it's one of those things, you know, when you do something and you're not like instantly good
I,
at it, it
yeah,
gets a little frustrating.
I
And I
get.
don't have my own wheel, so it's not like I can practice. And also, I guess I feel like I have so much yarn already that you know, it would be kind of crazy to create more. And I mean, I could definitely see the meditative aspect of
Mhm.
it.
Yeah.
Um, but I feel like I have a lot of things I want to knit. So maybe if I get to the point where I'm like, okay, I'm kind of knitted out, but I don't know if that's going to happen.
I was going to say, based on the company that you created, I sort of doubt you'll ever be hurting for yarn. So
No,
you're probably not going to have
definitely
an
not.
issue with that. So the next one I want to show is that pressed flowers.
Oh yeah.
I think this is so pretty. And we've had several people come into our shop and buy all kinds of yarn to make it. But this in particular, this pattern is by Amy Cristoffers.
Hmm.
And that yarn is what? What was the yarn?
So that is botanical yarn.
Okay.
So Sophie is a dyer based in Yorkshire in the UK.
Okay.
And yeah, I had worked with her, it was, I guess about a year ago. I did a series of virtual events, you know, because we were
Hmm.
all at
Yeah.
home. And so I did an event called Indie Across the Pond. So it was like an online marketplace, and the dyers and vendors did live stream uh, little Q&A sessions.
Oh,
And so, yeah, Sophie was one of the vendors, and yeah, I loved her. I love her colorway sense. It's very, hence, because of her name, botanical. And I'd seen Amy's pattern and just knew I wanted to make one. So,
it's
um,
beautiful. It really is
thank you.
pretty. I haven't made one, and I was actually looking at the pattern today. I've seen people's samples or their projects that they brought in, but it's a big piece.
It is.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, mine is, I don't know, it actually didn't block to the exact measurements. It's a little bit smaller, which, is totally fine. I did get to wear it. I finished it, I guess it was, yeah, early this year.
Hmm.
Um, so it takes a while,
Yeah.
but I really enjoyed the process. Like, I didn't think I would gravitate. I'm not a tall person. I'm fairly small, so I wasn't sure if like that was really be something I would wear, but it's, especially when it's really cold out, it's a nice accessory, and it's the process of knitting it was really nice. It was like, even, I guess some people said like, oh, I kind of got sick of the pattern after a while. And I can understand, like, yeah, it takes a while, and you might want to get on to other things. But
Right.
I enjoyed coming back to it. I knit it like over the holidays, and it was relaxing. It was kind of like nice to go back to it, and like, and to see the flowers emerge. So yeah, and the yarn, it had like a look of like that light speckled gray color, kind of like flowers,
Yeah.
actually petals. So
It's beautiful. The kit is beautiful and the pattern's beautiful too. And I don't know about you, but most people that walk into our shop and I like to have um, something to do that is kind of my, I don't want to say mindless, but my calm,
hmm,
non-threatening, not overly taxing project. And that one looks like it could be one of those.
yeah, it definitely is. I mean, like, getting started, it takes some concentration. But yeah, it's just like the perfect pattern to just whip out. You're watching TV and you just need something.
Yeah.
It's mindless, but it doesn't get too boring
Yeah,
because you have to
exactly.
pay attention to the
Exactly.
pattern.
There's just enough
But
going on,
it's,
it looks like.
yeah.
I've also got, I think this is the cutest picture. This is such a cute picture. And I think, is that the, oh my gosh, it's a T. Oh my gosh,
Oh, yeah, that's the as if tea.
as if. That's right. That's right.
Hmm.
I love that. And I love the colors that you did that in. Is that your normal palette? Do you gravitate toward that or?
It varies. I think, yeah, I mean, I tend to gravitate towards, well, I guess orange, not as much. Maybe like orange, peachy pinks.
Right.
Um, and the yarn I used as the main color is,
Yeah. There you go.
yeah, so it's called Nurtured from Julie Asselin,
Mm-hmm.
and so she dyes the fleece, and then she has the yarn milled for her.
Oh,
Um,
okay.
so it has like this interesting heathered look, and so the colorway I used on the tee is called Leaf Pile,
Okay.
and so it was actually a color she had created for Indie Untangled. So I had run into her, I think it was at Vogue Knitting Live in New York City, and she had taught a dyeing class that I took, and we were talking about Indie Untangled coming up, and she was interested in vending, and I had asked her if she was interested in creating a special color of Nurtured, because I love the yarn. It's just it's really nice to work with. It's
It's
nice
beautiful.
and rustic, and
Yeah.
um, yeah, so she created that color, And actually, I think yeah, it was for the upcoming Vogue Knitting Live, and I wanted to wear something with that yarn, and I think I started it like in January, like a couple of weeks before the show, and it took like no time at all to knit up.
Oh, it's
So.
really pretty. And I'm trying to remember, I can look it up, but the As If Tee, do you recall the designer off the top of your head?
Yes, it is. Oh, and now
I'm
I'm
totally putting you on the spot. I'm going to look it up because we've had several people do the As If Tee.
right.
Let's see if we can find it here. Shay Johnson?
Yes, Shay
Yeah.
Johnson.
Yeah, it's gorgeous. She did such a great job. And that is one of those patterns that looks great on everybody. It's just
Uh-huh.
such a, and actually looking at that now, I'm thinking, I may need one of those. I'm pretty sure. Um, you have a picture on your website, which if you guys have not visited the website, visit indiauntangled.com. In your, I think it's in your like apparel thing, and you and another model are
Oh, right.
t-shirts, and
Yes.
which brings me to the point that you have made a real effort to be as inclusive as you can be, size and everything. And so I love that. And when I got to your t-shirts on there, first of all, the t-shirts are adorable, but that picture of you guys is really cute. It looks like you made it look like you were having fun standing there in a t-shirt. So um, yeah, it's cute.
So my co-model is Patrina, who so I'd mentioned, I'd organized the Indie Untangled show by myself for a few years, and then it's a cool story. So Patrina, well, she used to live across the street from me. Now she lives around the corner.
Okay.
She moved into a different building. Um, but so it was, I guess, after the 2017 Indie Untangled show. So she posted her haul on Instagram and mentioned Ditmas Park as the location. So I'm like, oh, where in Ditmas Park? I live there.
Ah,
And yeah, so it turns out we were neighbors. And then Patrina works as an event planner.
oh my gosh.
And I was thinking, oh, I need a little bit of help expanding the show. So yeah, we've been working together since the 2018 show, and
Oh wow.
yeah, that photo shoot was yeah, we had the idea for t-shirts and wanted to make sure they were size inclusive. So.
Hmm. I love it. Oh my gosh, it's super cute. It's really cute. And how crazy awesome is it that you thought, gee, I need help, and along comes this person who says,
Yeah.
not only am I near you, but that's my specialty. That's I love stuff like that.
Right. Yeah, it was just one of those I don't know what the word is, but like one of those amazing like coincidences.
I love things like that. Things happen the way
Hmm.
they should. You also have on your website, and I thought this was really neat. So you've got a marketplace where vendors can put up their yarns and things that are new and things they've just dyed. I also noticed at least one designer that put up a pattern. I'm not sure how that works. Is there a space for designers on there, or do they tend to, like, how does that mix in?
Designers can post when they have new patterns. So the idea is just essentially Indie Untangled, the marketplace online, is a way to find out what's new.
Yeah.
So and I send out a weekly newsletter. So that's really helpful. So I enjoy browsing Instagram and kind of get lost in all of the things. But the way Instagram works, it's an algorithm, and they'll show you things you're interested in, but the
Yeah.
post could be from like 5 days ago, and then the yarn you really like or the item you really like just already sold out. So yeah, so this way, you can sign up for the email and then find out on Friday what's new. And if you really want something, it's easier to find it.
So where on your website do people need to go to find that sign up?
So there's one on the home page.
Okay.
If you scroll down a little bit, there's a box, and then on the marketplace on the sidebar, there's a little form too. So there are little reminders all over the website.
That's perfect. And then I think I also have one more yarn pick. There we go. And I thought this was beautiful. This oh, trying to see who this one is.
Oh yeah, that's Tré-Liz as
That's right.
well.
That's right. This is a lovely authentic life and a lovely mess.
Yes.
I saw the names on your file name for the picture, and I thought I can totally identify with that. I love it. I love dire names anyway, but that's beautiful. So now, are there kits associated with those couple of colors, or
So those are their singular colors. But I'm having I think it's still in process, but someone who goes to India Untangled had does some sample knitting. And so I asked, I guess, yeah, this was before the show last year, um, if she could do a sample of this shawl called Knowledge is Key, by Michael Green. He's a fairly new designer, and he
okay?
does really nice mosaic patterns.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
So, um, and that, yeah, the pattern's available on Ravelry. I think I have a photo up on Instagram that shows the in progress shawl. But yeah, the yarn could be used in anything, either together or by itself.
It's beautiful. I love the combination, definitely. And I'm kind of a sucker for contrast like that. So
Yeah,
I love that. Well, tell me what your plans are now that you're heading toward 10 years, but not too long away. Um,
right.
what are you hoping for Indie Untangled, and what can people look for in the next, in the near term, other than, of course, the
Um,
fall?
right. Yeah, I guess so. We're still planning on having a show this year, and yeah, it'll be in Saugerties, and we're super excited to return. Just Saugerties in general is it's a lovely little town. I've been loving just going up to visit. I've work obligations, but I've also made some visits, like just non-Rhinebeck times. And so there's a yarn store there called A Perfect Blend, and love supporting local yarn shops. And so Mary, the owner, has worked with us on the show before, and it's just a great place to be, and especially that weekend too. So we're excited to return, and yeah, in terms of moving forward, um, so this summer in June, there's going to be a trade show, H&H
Oh, right,
Americas.
right. Yes, that's a big one. That's a huge one.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So I don't know if you, in the time you've owned Cheers to You, if you've gone to TNNA.
Yes.
Um,
Yeah.
so yeah, so since TNNA isn't taking place anymore, was our industry
Right.
trade show.
Right.
So H&H Americas, it's run by a company in Germany, and they just had their show in Cologne, and they saw an opportunity to move it over here, and they're organizing it, along with the Craft Industry Alliance, which is a business group. And yeah, so I'm organizing an Indie Untangled Pavilion, so it's going to be a showcase of indie dyers, and just smaller, startup companies in the yarn and also the sewing um, space. And yeah, so that the idea is to help connect shop owners like you with smaller companies. And since it's a larger show and it can be a real investment to do that kind of a large event, so I thought it would be a good idea to have a space where the smaller companies to make the show more accessible for them.
I think
Um,
that's great. Yeah, I don't think most people know. Even when you go to something like, as a consumer, when you go to Vogue Knitting Live, the phenomenal amount of money it costs those vendors to be there. I think it would probably blow most people's minds. I don't think they realize what the cost is. So
right.
it's very expensive and it's great exposure, but for you to provide an opportunity for, like you said, the smaller companies to get in contact with shop owners is huge, and it's helpful to us too because owning a business, I can only spend we can only spend so many hours a day. I say hours a day. That's kind of depressing when I say it, but trolling Instagram for, like
Right.
you kind of, there's other stuff that has to happen. So having a focused way of making those connections is supremely helpful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I know when I go to a yarn store, like I want to find something that I couldn't find anywhere else.
Yeah.
So whether it's, yarn from a local sheep or a local dyer or just a dyer that I wouldn't be able to or just I had wouldn't have learned about
Yeah.
without walking into the shop. So that yeah, that was really the idea. And I know like when I've gone to TNNA, I've I wanted to find, like when you go to a fiber festival and you walk into a booth and it just blows you away. So
Yeah.
I thought it would be nice to bring that experience um, to to the show. So it's yeah, kind of it fits with just the overall mission of Indie Untangled, which is to provide a home for the indie companies in this industry who, they're people work really, really hard, and
Yeah.
um, their yarn are like works of art. So when I'm spending hours, on or months on a shawl project, I want to have a connection and really love the yarn that I'm working with.
Yep. I think all of us are right there with you. It's when it comes down to it, that's what we all love. So yeah, that's awesome. Well, I sure
Exactly.
appreciate your time today. This has been really, really fun, and I've really enjoyed chatting with you. And hopefully, I'll get to run into you in person at some point. So
Yeah.
that would
I
be
hope you
great.
get to come to the show.
I hope so. And someday, cider donuts for me. Someday, India Untangled and cider donuts. That would be, I think the clouds would part and the sun would shine. That would be it. So
That's a beautiful combination.
I love it. Well, thanks so much. And to everybody who's watching, sure appreciate it. Please subscribe and like this video, and definitely share it with your friends, both those who love yarn and those who are future yarn lovers, because you just never know. And Lisa, thank you so much. And I'll look forward to seeing you again soon.
Great. Thanks for
All right.
having me.
Take care. Bye.
Bye.